I wanted to ask you, I guess, first about your approach to kind of reestablishing yourself as an actor. You had a big year so far with Kings of Summer, Despicable Me 2, and now this. And kind of, I guess, transitioning from doing more child stuff to more adult and serious stuff. You know, some people have been able to do it with ease, other people have had some difficulty. So, you know, moving forward, how is it that you've managed to set yourself up as no longer being Rico, but being someone who can carry these roles and be seen as something completely different?
Right. This is how I see my career as when I was younger. It was more a learning process. So people, you know, see that as the end all. You know what I'm saying? That's where you end up. But really, that was my college. That was how I learned to work with directors. That's how I learned punchlines, timing. That's where I learned everything. And then leading into the show ending, you really wait for that correct part and put art before anything else. There's a lot of difficult situations where you feel, you know what I'm saying, I was on a show that was incredibly successful, so you feel like, oh, okay, now I don't have to audition, I don't have to do anything, let me just go on this movie because they're going to be paying me a lot, or because it's great exposure, or because whatever it is. For me, it was more, you know, a year passed without me working because I didn't like any of the projects that were coming my way, and finally Ender's Game came around. I read the book immediately when I heard that it was coming around, and really Bonzo didn't describe me in any way. I was like, all right, Bonzo sounds like a 6-foot, intimidating, really, you know, scary dude. And, you know, I just really, I guess the director saw something different in me, and the dynamic between Ender, Asa, who's an incredible actor, and me just really worked. I don't know what it was. Both of us are just, you know, I would stay in character a lot. The extras wouldn't really talk to me because apparently I was too intimidating until a couple months went by. So really it's just, I guess the answer to your question is putting art first before anything else, and waiting for the correct opportunity, because work is really opportunity and preparation coming into at the same time. It's and then also there's many different ways you could do it, creating your own projects, or you know, there's just a lot of ways, and I think people get too caught up in trying to do something quickly, trying to write off what they were just doing. Or
kind of strike while the iron's hot, yeah.
Exactly.
When you have a film like this that has an incredible fandom going all the way back to the book, how do you strike a balance between bringing something new and fresh to the table, you know, for however you and Gavin envision it, while also staying true to what I guess fans expect to see brought forth on screen?
Well, what Gavin says all the time is, you know, both of the arts are completely different. So if you take, you know, a painting of, let's say this drawing right here, and you take a sculpture of it, they're going to be two completely different pieces. It's the same thing with movie making and adaptations to books. You know what I'm saying? Books and movies and the adaptation of that. I think that Gavin did a great job in keeping the heart of the film. You know, it's if he kept it completely 100% to the book, it would be a 5-hour movie. So, you know, you would have to pick those instances which are most important to you, and Gavin writing it, you know, had a big hand in that. And I think that it was executed really, really well. His vision is he's just a very artistic, very he was there for the love. You know, he loves the book. He lived and breathed this movie, and I feel as if everybody involved in it was also like that. And I think if you watch the movie, you see the work that everybody put into it. And I think it's just a very different movie because it's not just geared with the sci-fi and special effects that a lot of movies are these days. It has a lot of heart because, you know, the book is such an incredible portrayal of what a kid goes through if that were to actually happen, and what's moral and what's not moral, and just all these incredible lessons that you read throughout the book can be seen in the movie. And you just get a different feeling at the end of it than most pictures you go see.
Well, that's the thing to me. I was thinking about Bonzo is he's a very complicated individual. He's obviously set up to kind of be sort of an antagonist or a villain to Ender, but really he's a product of his environment.
Right.
You know, when you're in that situation, in a military situation where it's also this competitive environment is fostered, he's just playing into what he's been bred to do along this way. So when did you go back to the book, I guess, to kind of see these little nuances in the character, and how do you bring that out on screen to show the character to be so complicated and not such a black and white good guy bad guy situation?
Yeah, I think that the character, without reading into the book and without anything, could be a very gimmicky bully. I think reading the book is one of the most important things to do as an actor trying to bring something to the screen. First of all, I'm not what you would expect physically, and then I guess the attitude and the intimidating part came after that. The what I bring to it, I guess Gavin liked, and I think, I don't tend to really watch my movies or like them, but I feel as if the dynamic actually worked. I don't know how. There's a formula that I don't know what it was, but I think it's important for you to study up on what you're doing, but don't get too caught up in trying to please someone else. You first please yourself and know what your art is and know what you're talented at, and really work at your strengths. And I can't put on stilts, so my thing was just working with what I got.
Well, there's kind of, I guess, this Napoleon complex to him too, as a result, and trying to overcompensate for lack of height or size by projecting this strength and this command over his inferiors, I guess, at that point as well.
That's what I was hoping would happen, and that's, I feel, what a lot of people take away from watching the movie, and I'm just excited that all the work we put into it wasn't to waste. I think everybody involved in the movie is incredibly talented at taking the character from the book and making it their own. I think everybody's face pretty much fits the character, and everybody's emotions just, it's really fantastic to see a movie come together after so many years put into it, and so much anticipation behind it.
Bonzo is also a really important emotional beat for the development of Ender, because to this point everything is seen as sort of a game, very strategic approach, but the shower confrontation, really shows that there are consequences to your actions, and it's no longer just thinking of it as play. When you're filming that scene and you're dealing with kind of all the complications that now go with it and kind of things reaching to a head, how do you dip into the I guess the darkness that kind of comes with that moment, while also kind of being this grand revelation of what the characters are going through now?
I get, so I've been told, very into the character. Like I said, a lot of people were intimidated, and that specific day was one of the biggest days for me. There could have been so many different ways that you could have done that part as one of the most important sections in the book, one of the most important events in the book, and to really project that onto the screen in a way that is not completely horrifying, that you can't even watch, is a difficult. There's a thin line that Gavin, our director, really worked hard at, and I think executed correctly, and us as actors bring that intensity without it being fake or it could have been funny, it could have been all these different things, and I think that the preparation that everybody was set for. I ended up doing my own stunt when it's just the heat of the moment. You never know what's going to happen, and I feel as if it turned out as one of the most kind of pivotal moments in the movie.
When you're talking about doing your own stunts as well, how much training and work goes into the battle room? Because you're, to do it, obviously there's a certain amount of CG that's going to go into it, but also, I've read that you guys went in and did space camp to learn kind of what zero gravity feels like in order to do it. So what was that experience like, to be able to see what it's like in order to realistically and authentically bring it to the screen?
Yeah, not only did we do space camp and all that, we did military training, we did wire work, we did all these incredible things, because obviously we can't go into space and shoot this. Everybody was incredibly fit and you know, we just got him even more fit. There was waking up at 600 hours, you know what I'm saying, waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, making your bed perfectly. If you didn't make it perfectly, you got less sleep, or they made you wake up early. It's just, it was an intense training, and not only that, but training beforehand. You know, once they said I got the part, you know, training began then, and from then on, the military added on, and then the wire work was incredibly difficult it's the most important part. You know, if we couldn't make that the most probably epic part of the movie believable, it wouldn't work at all. So the fact that we have a 12-year-old Aramis who's doing all these stunts perfectly and still keeping the emotion while in the scene, and while having these wires and people telling you to float and don't move your hand too fast and don't, just everything together, I think is really astonishing. And I think people, if they knew how it was shot, would appreciate it tenfold.